Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our NTW training session. My name is Amy. I'll be the behind the scene person or your tech person.
So let's get on with the course. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. Thank you all for joining in the National Training Week. Yeah? Every year, Fazmia Technology will contribute to the National Training Week to support the initiative that our government is doing so that meriahkan keadaan lah ya. Okay, my name is Razak. Later, I will talk a little bit about myself so that you all are comfortable receiving information from me because I do have some experience in this area. Yeah. All right. Let's go in and okay, in this course, yeah, what we will be talking about, what we will actually look at is the cost estimation methodologies. What market trends actually does to these cost estimates, and how does your decision making in choosing uh, things inside this well cost, whether how much is the price, how do you want to calculate everything inside, how basically this will impact the overall well cost, yeah. And it is hoped that at the end of this session, although it is only a 2 hour session, but don't underestimate the power of virtual training, because virtual training can actually provide a lot more than sometimes the physical training does. Yeah. So out of these 2 hours, we hope that at the end of the session, you can understand the fundamental of well cost estimation. We would like you to actually at least understand or know, identify the key cost components. We take a look also at what is the uncertainties surrounding this well cost, as well as the risk factor that goes along in the well planning. Because inside the well planning will translate into the well cost. Uh, because well planning, you will provide the time, and inside the time, it basically will equate to the cost itself. Yeah. So we'll explore the market trends and also the contracting strategies. So for you guys, the proposal engineer, this is actually very much related. And I hope all of you will benefit from this 2 hour session. Yeah. Okay, this is what we're gonna be covering. We'll be covering the necessity and complexity of the well cost, the components, and the method and decision making, as well as what basically is the trends that we have right now on the well cost. And then hopefully all of you can actually benefit from this. Yeah, a little bit of the introduction. There's only one page that we talk about Fazmia Technology. If you do not know who we are, please do come visit our website, the Fazmia Technology website, and then understand what basically we provide. But basically, what we provide is the software applications services over to our clients over in Malaysia. We partner up with a few of the people around the world that provide the software applications, and then we package it. For example, like real-time operations. Inside there, we put together 4 to 5 of our partners, depending on the requirement that we have for the client, and then we provide as well in terms of the services support. Yeah, so consultancy work and so on and so forth. Everything that we do is upstream oil and gas. Yeah. So if you would like to know more, you can go over to our website and see what we actually do. Yeah. A little bit about the Fazmia, what we do as well, as part of the way that we want to give back to the society. The way that Fazmia Technology works is that we work, we work with our client, and whatever that we can give back to our nation, to the society, we will do the best that we can. That's the reason why we have Unitech Talk, where we either do a virtual or a physical session with any of the universities that requires this kind of topics, yeah? Oil and gas topics, how wells are drilled, what kind of how busy cost. In fact, I just delivered last Friday Unitech Talk session with UITM Shah Alam. Yeah, it was a physical session, very good session that we have. Quite a number of students actually joined in, all from the oil and gas industry, oil and gas engineering. Yeah, so it was a great session. So if you all think that you need more, please do come and contact us. Yeah, yeah. And also throughout this week, as part of our support to the National Training Week, this whole week we put together 8 of this session over here. You probably have joined some of the session that we had earlier. So far, we this is the fifth session. So we have 3 more sessions for tomorrow and Friday. So we have done the automation for drilling operation as well as drilling fluid technology. We have done that, but field development plan would be, I think, tomorrow or on Friday. Yeah? So we also have over there introduction to upstream oil and gas, origin of hydrocarbon. So if you would like to know what's going on with the upstream industry of the oil and gas, here are all the availability of knowledge that you can actually get. Yeah, of course, we have the principle of well integrity. I think one of you just now are very much related. I think it was Nair, who's very much related to this particular topic. So and then, of course, I did the Monday session on understanding the drilling business, as well as right now we are having the well cost estimate principles. And I hope all of you will benefit from these sessions that Fazmia Technology is actually providing you. Yeah. I do know as well, I do realize as well, it's like 2 o'clock, 2 plus PM, and it is time after your lunch, and everyone is kind of like a bit sleepy. So I do understand that. But if, say, for example, you would, we will do a 5 minutes break at 3 o'clock so that all of you can actually rest a little bit. But from now until 4 o'clock, we try to finish up the items that we cover over here. So a little bit about myself over there. You can read through. I wouldn't want to go a whole lot of things over there. Yes, I do have about more than 20 years of experience. I wouldn't say how many more than 20 years, because I kind of like stop at 20 years so that people won't really know how old I really am. Yeah. So okay, I mean, it's laughing at me. Not a nice thing to do. But anyway, back to the so one more thing that you do, and I realize as well, most of you over here are actually engineers. Yeah, I am in the board of engineers Malaysia, one of the committee members. So and I do promote as well, as you know, as you have graduated with an engineering degree, please do register yourself with the Board of Engineers Malaysia. It does not matter whether you want to pursue as a professional engineer like I do. It does not matter. You register yourself first, but later, whenever that you want, at least your experience as an engineer in the industry is counted. Does not matter as well if you are doing things other than your very own degree that you have right now. If you are hold an engineering degree, but then you are doing a sales work, does not matter. Register yourself first. Yeah. And if you need further help, I am also in the Institution of Engineers Malaysia, where we support our members. Yeah. Board of Engineers Malaysia is about registration, and Institution of Engineers Malaysia is about registration. Sorry, it's about membership. So when you become member, then we can actually help you to propel your career to the next level. And also for the oil and gas industry people, that's what we call as oil, gas, and mining technical division within Institution of Engineers Malaysia to actually help and put together all of the professionals around in Malaysia. Yeah. So you get to meet a lot of other people and things like that. Yeah. And if, say, for example, you would like more information about well engineering, operations, project management, drilling data management, and other kind of drilling applications, do come and contact us as well. We can actually help you with that. Yeah. And if you would like to become a professional engineer, since I am a professional engineer with practicing certificate, so you can also ask me anything that you like about it. Yeah. All right. Hopefully that our relationship does not stop here. You can reach out over to us so that we can help you. And Fazmia Technology is about helping people out there. All right, back to the cost structure. We are going to take a look a little bit about the well cost estimation. We take a look at the life cycle of a field, the market condition, how basically the market impact. So there was one question that people actually, that one of the participants actually asked, with the war that is going on between Iran and Israel, will that impact the oil and gas industry? Of course it does, because all of this, it basically impact the oil price, and whatever the oil price will impact the contracts that you will be signing. So the proposal engineers out there, whatever that you want to do, your cost estimates and putting together the proposal, it will complex your work. Seriously, whatever that is going on in the market condition in the market will impact. So do figure out around your work. Yeah, whenever that you do your work, do take a look out there what's going on with the market, because market trends will actually impact whatever work that you do. Yeah. So we don't work in a silo. We have to know what is going on over. The same thing as well, I tell all of the students that I talk to. It is not just about your studies, getting a degree whatsoever, but also for you to know what is going on with the market, so that your career or your work can actually be maneuvered much better. Yeah. All right. Of course, the cost over here, the location-based cost is very important where we do the work. Yeah. We will take a look at that. Of course, regulatory and environmental factors. For all of you who are actually in the oil and gas industry, you know that PPGOA is out there, and now you have the GS governing standards. I hope all of you are plugged in about PPGOA and governing standards, so that whatever work that you do, you have to consider regulatory. Does not matter whether you are in wells, you are in drilling, whatsoever. As long as you are in oil and gas industry, you need to know about governing standards that Petronas actually issued. So we take a look later. Why is it so complex about the well cost estimate? And I hope by the end of the course, you will not be more confused than what you are right now. But confusion is good, because you do realize the complexity of it, and you will find the answers of how basically you want to maneuver as such. Yeah. And then we take a look at the key components of the cost, and then we take a look as well at the detailed cost breakdown, as well as the abandonment and decommissioning. Um, 20 years ago, abandonment and decommissioning wasn't really a big topic to talk about. But now, as part of the field development plan, you have right now field development and abandonment plan because the cost has to go inside the FDAP. Then we take a look as well about contingency. People say, oh, just put in 10% over there, 20%, 30%. No, there is a guideline on what is a percentage that you can put inside there. And what is a percentage and why basically you have that numbers. It's not just the number that you pluck from the air. Nothing in over here that you pluck from the air. You have to have a justification for the things that you put inside there because every single cent that you put inside your well cost estimates will translate into the project, whether it is a feasible project or not, whether you actually have a job to do in the future or not. So you have to really know what you put in, and you really will be able to actually voice it out. Yeah. Okay, that's the reason why the cost is very expensive. You know, whenever that I review well cost, I have to take a look at all of these items because if I didn't take a look at all of these items, then whenever that the cost actually goes out there and it's not enough, then it will come back to me on how basically I review those costs. Yeah. Method and decision making, estimation method, how is it done, and things like that. Yeah? And then cost estimation workflow, how do you want to do from step by step? We will not be going into detail all of this definitely, but I will give you a feeling of what the content is all about. So then later, whenever that you do your work, you can start to go over to the chat GPT because you already know some of it that we'll be talking today, and then you can chat GPT the rest in order to help you do your work. Yeah, but realizing that there are issues that you need to solve, and all of us engineers are all about problem solving. So whenever that you do that, you know that there is some issues that you need to realize and to solve, then you can check GPT those. Yeah. All right. And then emerging trends or the future. We take a look at that a little bit about well digitalization. You missed out yesterday's session with Tengku Azharuddin, who basically talked about the automation and well digitalization, a very, very interesting topic. And if you would like to actually have that kind of talk, probably you can go over to our YouTube. Yeah, later we will put all of this session in our YouTube, Fazmia Technology YouTube, and then you can view back whichever courses that you missed. Yeah, even this particular course, if you want to take a look at some parts of it, you can go over to our YouTube and take a look and have a review. Yeah. So I hope all of you can really benefit from the sessions that we give. Yeah. Of course, all right. Let us take a look at the necessity and also the complexity of the well cost estimates. Yeah. First and foremost, why is it important? Yeah. Why is accurate cost estimation important? Because as I mentioned just now, whatever number that you put inside your cost estimates will translate into whether the project actually fly or not, whether the project will be sanctioned or not. And if you simply put in any number that you pluck from the air without justification, and if your reviewer didn't question you and the number actually went out there and the project is sanctioned, then you probably will have issues later trying to justify if your cost didn't actually meet the actual work that has been done. Because as I mentioned, whenever that you require additional cost, yeah, to supplement your budgeted approved cost, that means you have not done something right at the planning stage, at the calculation stage. Or it could be an outside factor, market trend, or it could be operation matter, where during the operation some issues occur. So there's a whole lot of things over here. And I hope whenever that you heard me saying all of that, you take note. In the future, whenever that you are doing your cost estimate, doesn't matter whether it's for well or just any kind of cost estimate for the project, yeah. If you need to do justification, you have some idea. Oh, it could be because of the changing in the market. It could be because of the operations changes. And why basically the operations need to change? Is it because that we didn't plan properly? That is for you to investigate. That is actually a very good way of you to justify why your certain costs did not actually meet the plan value that you have put together. Of course, all of this will influence the investment decision. Yeah. So on some of the projects that I have done before, yeah, um, it, one of this project is supposed to be done over in Canada, yeah, and we are trying to get the investor to come over and put their money in so that we can start our well intervention work in Canada. But in order for us to actually convince the investor to put in their money, we have to tell them, how much it costs, how much it will cost, the expense, and what kind of margin, and when basically the money can actually come in or pay back over to our investors. Because at the end of the day, our investors hold the money, and we, as a technical person, basically will try to come up with a plan that is sellable to all of our investors. The same thing as well, if you are working in the big organization, you will need to convince your management. And in this case, your management is just like your investor, where you will need to figure out whether that project can actually give money or not. There is no point of doing a project that does not actually give a good margin, that does not actually give you back the money, except for a certain country. Whenever that they do a project, it is called a strategic project, yeah? Because if we didn't do that project, then the country will not have enough supply of oil or gas. Then they will suit out to, like, probably the issue of energy supply. Realize the importance of our work over here in oil and gas. We basically generate the energy for the use of this country and the rest of the world. Going into the next page of our slides over here, realize until 2050, yeah, the demand for energy keeps on increasing. And where do this energy comes from? What is the source? And if we see over there, the source mostly will still come from what we call as fossil fuel. And fossil fuel are coal, oil, gas. Yeah. Because they are from fossil, they are from dinosaurs. So that's the reason why it's important that you realize that this is the trend globally, and this is also the trend over in Malaysia. So if you are in the organic and gas industry, no, the industry is not dying, but in the next 20 to 30 years, we are still needed. Yeah. Okay. Why is that? Because renewable energy is not advancing as rapidly as what we want. Yeah. What kind of renewable energy that we have over in Malaysia? Solar energy. Yeah. Hydro. Those are very limited. Yeah. How much space can we have to put all the solar panels in order for us to actually get the enough energy to power up the nation? Not enough, not sufficient enough for us to actually rely on renewable energy. So that's how important our work is. That's the reason why drilling and well cost is still very much relevant in the next 20 to 30 years. Yeah. All right. Let's see. All right. So right now, I would like to introduce to you a little bit about life cycle of a field. Where do this oil gas comes from? Yeah. So it comes from the exploration, drilling, completion, production, and also abandonment. All of this happens in a well or a field itself. So if you take a look from the part over there from the well proposal, where we go in and drill the well for information. Yeah, once we actually gain the information, then we will figure out whether that particular field over there is actually economically feasible to actually be developed. And if it is, then the field development plan will tell us, okay, let's develop this particular field. We need 5 platforms over there, one mother platform, and so on and so forth. And we go into the drilling for development wells, and then it goes into production. And after 20 years or 30 years, then we will go into well intervention or workover and well services so that we can help the oil flow. But if you need more information, probably you can go over to our YouTube, yeah, because this was covered in on the Monday session, where we talk a little bit more about how each one of these well is is produced, and then repair, and then it will continue to produce, and then until the tertiary drive or tertiary recovery, where we do enhance oil recovery, where we try to push the oil up to the surface. So very interesting stuff. If you missed it, go over to our YouTube, and then later you will be able to see more about this information. And if we have not uploaded yet our this week session in 2025, you can actually find from our 2024 videos as well. Yeah. So we cover different angles of things, but they are actually talking about the same thing, which is the oil and gas industry upstream. Yeah. And then lastly, we do the plug and abandonment, where we try to leave the site, the environment, to the natural state of that particular place. So if we go over to one particular area, when we leave the area, we want as much as possible to make that area the same as what we came in initially. But is that possible? That's not possible. So we will do the best that we can. In fact, if you take a look at the governing standards, you will see that for plug and abandonment, we have to do the best that we can. They are very, very basic items that you will need to do, making sure that there is no cross flow and things like that. Yeah, but overall, this is the life cycle of a field. Okay, and understand a little bit as well, yeah, before we go into, because before we go into the well cost, the heart of the well cost, you need to understand a little bit about the life cycle of the field, and then the phases, design stages, the well phases, the well life cycle, because in each of this, yeah, phases, stages, and the life cycle, it basically impact in terms of how you would want to estimate that particular well cost. So very important, yeah. At the different stages, conceptual, detail, and final, yeah. This design stages, they are differently calculated. Even at the well phases, yeah, it is differently looked at, because items over there will not be the same from one phases to the other. You can actually take a template and make changes over there, but it will not be enough, because each one of the well is a unique, yeah. As much as your face recognition on the phone, for example, yeah, all of your faces are unique. The same thing as the well costs. They are very much unique to that particular well. You will not have an exact numbers and exact condition. Yeah. In my number of years of working, of making this well cost, I have not seen two well cost that's exactly the same. But probably what you have heard before, what we call as well cost standardization. Yeah, we try to standardize, but yet it is not easy to do that, and the possibility is really, really low for it to actually work. Yeah. So well cost or well designed is not a cookie cutter. So you cannot have manufacturing. Yeah. Come again? Oh, there is a question. Okay. Sorry, Fahmi. I only saw this. Agree, even the energy density is still not matured enough compared to conventional fuel. Oh yeah, definitely, Fahmi. Because if you see what you have over in the in the industry, yeah, our energy consumption and energy demand itself, yeah, is very much skewed towards the fossil fuel as the source, yeah, the source of energy that comes that needs to come in and also contribute to the energy sector is really tremendous over there. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's go back to our well types. Yeah. So you see over there, there's a well type. So you see different types of well: exploration, development, injection, geothermal, coal bed, methane, shale. It's all different kinds of wells, yeah, and each type of well will have a different way of calculating. The same way as what if you see even the development wells, yeah, for development well types, yeah, you have the production, which is greenfield, or the appraisal well, infield, step out well. All of those are the kind of development wells that we have. But even in this category, in these types itself, the way that you want to approach the well cost estimates will be different. For example, yeah, between production and also appraisal. In the production well, we drill the well and we want to produce as soon as possible. So I will be so annoyed if a reservoir engineer would like to test some of this particular development production well, because You know that place. Let's just drill and produce. However, sometimes in the field development plan, whenever that we put together that field development plan, you specify inside there whenever that you drill this particular well, I would like to also get some more information, formation information, because I would like to appraise that particular area. You see over there, what makes it the big difference over there? Even though the well is in this category over here, but we need to see the function, the purpose of drilling this particular well, so that your well cost actually makes sense, actually uh will actually reflect the work that you really need to do. Yeah, so you will allocate over there some formation evaluation. Yeah, then everyone will be happy. Don't tell me last minute that you would like tiba-tiba wants to have that formation evaluation. Then I would just say, don't you plan your work, is it? You don't plan, is it? That is really important. Yeah. So whenever that we do something, it is based on the bigger plan, and this bigger plan is called field development plan. Yeah. All right. Let's take a look at the market condition impact. This is very, very interesting. Many people actually ask me as well. Oh, right now, the oil price is down, yeah? So the oil price is down. So does that mean that I stop drilling, or do I want to go and drill? Ah, that really depends. That really depends. Later, you will realize market trends itself does not really tell you whether to go out and drill or not, because you will need to know what is your company's situation at that particular time, what is their economic standing at that time, because sometimes whenever that the contract is signed, it is signed for the next 3 years or 5 years ahead of time, and the cost over there is stuck for the next 3 to 5 years. Ah, how does that actually do? Because whatever that you drill, yeah, you produce and then you sell, and you sell at the market price. But whenever that you want to plan, you want to drill, you want to pay your invoices, you have to pay at the time where you sign the contract. You see the complexity over there. Yes, yeah, things can get really, really complex whenever that you want to do well cost estimate. But now that you realize, it opens up your mind that, oh, yes, now if I were to do a cost estimate, not just for wells, but also for the rest of my project, I have to consider all of these areas. And and realize that brings in the complexity. The more information that you have, the more that you will be able to actually do a better estimate. However, how you want to do it, that is depends on your creativity. Yeah. But at the end of the day, what exactly do you want? You want to make money for your company, because there is no point of you trying to get a project out while that project does not actually bring in money for the company. Yeah. So that's the reason why as well people actually hire me to become the consultant, because I can actually do all of that work for them. But again, for you, I would say if you can actually start thinking that route, that way, open up your mind and have this kind of issues considered, then you will be able to help your company to come up with a project that makes sense. Yeah. All right. And then bucket trend rig counts. Rig count means that how many rigs that is operating, that is working at the moment. We are talking about globally, but we also need to see regionally because rigs, it's very hard for rigs to move from one region to the other. Once the rig come into the region, it will work in that particular region for a number of years. Obviously, because of the cost. Who's going to pay for the cost of the rig moving from one region to the other? Those are the areas that you will need to realize. Yeah, all these minor details that needs to go into your cost estimates because all of these are considered as uncertainty. Yeah, whenever that you have uncertainty, your cost, if you take a look at the probability, it will run really, really fluctuates really, really high. You do not want that. You do want to know what is the probability of your cost being different from the one that you estimated. But as much as we can, yeah, we can actually do the best that we can. But whenever that you have done the work, you will realize that, okay, I have done the best that I can up to that date. But if things changes after that, then I can't do much. But I can justify why basically my cost is different, the current cost versus the planned cost. Yeah. So service and equipment costs are also price sensitive, as I mentioned, whenever that, the market condition versus when the contract was actually signed off. So those makes a big difference. This fluctuation actually makes it very, very difficult for us to actually do the estimates. Yeah. So if all of this is done, then there is actually what we call as adjustment during the contract period. It's called negotiation. Yeah. But usually negotiation is not uh, it does not have the success rate that as high as what you want, because the person who actually hold the power would be the other party. But you, if you signed off your contract with another that party, let's see who holds the power. Then you can negotiate better and understand as well what is the condition of the contract that you have already signed and what is the condition of the market and how basically you can actually work it out. Usually, we would like to have a win-win situation, but there are some hard ass certain parties who basically does not want to have a win-win situation. Tamak kan? So that's the reason why you need to know the details of your contract, especially those who are doing proposal over there. In the business, let's have win-win situation. Market condition out there keeps on changing, but let's have a win-win situation. You don't have to, uh, to kill other business. All right. So, well, design influence. One of the things over here is different kind of well-designed types. Some places, require vertical wells. Some places require directional well. So all of these wells will actually be different in terms of how many days that you want to drill this particular well, how many times that you want to spend to complete this particular well. Because if we take a look at the offshore environment, yeah, either you want to put in one major platform or four small platform and one major platform. That really depends on the cost. And all of these costs will need to go together in your well cost. Well cost is the last portion, last bit that you will need to put in all of this overall cost of the project. Oil and gas industry, whenever that you do a development project like this, it costs billions of dollars. And drilling actually takes quite a big portion of that. In a big development where you will have a lot more facilities from the mother platform and so on and so forth, well, costs can actually apportion to at least 30% or 35%. Yeah. But if you are doing a very small development, well, costs sometimes become 50, 60% of the total project cost. That's how significant well cost estimates are. Yeah. So do realize that. And location based. Where do you want to do this? In Malaysia, it is actually quite simple because most of our development are over in offshore. However, we do have some over in the swamp area, over in the Sarawak area. So, and we also have deep sea over in Sabah area as well. So each one of these costs, location, yeah, location, they are different in terms of how you want to estimate. In some of the project that I have worked in, yeah, for example, in the middle of the desert whatsoever in Algeria, whenever that you want to conduct the drilling over there, you have to know, is there a road that goes along with it? Is there nomad people over there who basically move from one place to the other? Will they come over and steal your stuff? Because drilling equipment are all very expensive, yeah. And then also, do you have wildlife over in desert as well? Are you going to feed this wildlife? Because you have all of the supplies, and then you need to throw away your trash. You are changing the environment. And how is that written in the guidelines of that particular country? That you need to know, because that will need to go into your well cost estimates. The more complex of all of these operations that you need to do, the more the more cost that you will have. And sometimes you also have to pay off the people around that area, the villages around that area, because, yeah, your project has to work. So all of these costs will need to go into your cost estimates. So very complex over there. Yeah. All right. And also one item that I would like to go before we take a break is that regulatory and environment factors. I mentioned just now, yeah. In each country, there is a different guidelines, different requirements. In Malaysia, you have governing standards replacing PP Guam. So you must know what is inside there. And then in each one of the project, you will do EIA or environmental impact assessment. All of this will need to go into your cost. Drilling permits. Whenever that you want to do to drill, you need to have permit. You need to have abandonment approval. How basically are you going to leave the place? Yeah, and then all of this is, it have different layers. National and local regulation also play a very important part. Safety and HSA requirement, data reporting obligation. Some of this, I mean, data reporting obligation, and people say, oh, you just report lah, no problem. No, or every single thing that you do involve costs. Yeah, it's not free. Nothing in oil and gas industry is actually free other than my smile. Ah, that's why people like to work with me, because I always give my smile. free. Yeah. Okay. All right. Environmental consideration. Yes, the drilling cuttings is another part, yeah, where either you are able to leave it over there, or you actually will need to bring back on shore. How do you want to handle that? If over in the apa ni, in the desert whatsoever, you can probably put it on the truck, but over in offshore, you have to do it on the barge, on your vessel. And how are you going to do that? Yeah. And then flaring restriction as well. And then water use and also water. Yeah. How are you going to dispose all of this? All of this is cost. Yeah. Decommissioning obligation. How are you going to restore the site to its original condition? Ah. There you go. Okay, so cost application over here, you will have the higher compliance cost because in some countries where it is very, very restricted, yeah, you need to do that. Delays because of, okay, whenever that project delays, it actually cost. Yeah. Say, for example, you're supposed to start the project in January, but in April, you still have not started. You think that 4 months is free? No, because you already launched the rest of other contracts. Yeah, if they have not sent the equipment or whatsoever, it does not matter. But the contract is running, and every time the contract is running, your equipment is already booked for you, and you have to pay the rental price. Delays is a big no-no. Um, I have done a project which is like 1.5 years delayed, and that is not beautiful at all. Yeah. So delays is very expensive. Yeah. Penalties and liabilities. So if, say, for example, you cannot comply with the contract requirement, then you will be you will be stuck with a certain cost. Yeah. So what you see over there, over in Malaysia, of course, the first part that you need to understand is about Petroleum Development Act. The Petroleum Development Act 1970 to 74. Yeah. So in the Petroleum Development Act is where it talks about how you want to develop it. And then, of course, you have the petroleum arrangement contracts, where Petronas does with the all of the service provider. And then, of course, you have the governing standards. And of course, in each one of the work that you do, there is a guideline. Okay, so regulatory is very, very important over there. So right now, I would like to go, but then I will give you all 5 minutes break before we go on and continue on with our next slide. Yeah. All right. Oh, there is a question. Let me see what is the question all about. Do we need an EIA study for drilling campaign in offshore and onshore area? Definitely. In every drilling campaign that we do, we definitely will need an EIA, environmental impact assessment. Yeah, because all of this, when we have already prepared, it has to be prepared by third party, and then it will need to be approved by the relevant party. And in this case, you present it over to the DOE, Department of Environment, and then they will say yes, go ahead, or they will say no, but you can proceed if you do things like this. Yeah, there are certain things like, for example, in some of the projects, one of the projects that I have done before, I will need to flare, but the flare a little bit above the allowance, yeah. But but we present it over to the DOE, and then we say, okay, this is what we need to do. But we cannot do and reduce this anymore because of the operational limitation. But this is what we will do in return. Ah, so there are ways on how basically we want to get the project running. We will need to do a lot more of the environmental program and things like that to counter back whatever that we have we need to do. And all of this is negotiable, of course, but you need to present your effort, your effort to actually take care of the environment. And then next, in Sabah and Sarawak, the local authorities request for zero cuttings discharge in any offshore drilling. What does it mean? Oh, very, very good question over in some location. Yeah, I must say in some location, not all. Yeah, where drilling cuttings whenever that you use a certain drilling fluids, you are not able to um, to dump it into the sea. The normal, the usual work that we do, we drilling cuttings whenever it comes up to the surface, then we dry it a little bit and then we put it out to the sea. Because we have conducted the environmental impact assessment that the cuttings is actually safe to be disposed into the water. Again, as an engineer, I am an ethical person based on the guidelines. So I have a guideline, I will need to abide to the guideline. But in case I cannot, then I have to request for the waiver from the person who actually uh, put together that guideline. Okay, going back to what does it mean? What it means it does not, you did not get to discharge the cuttings, you need to load that particular cutting onto the boat and then send it over to onshore. And in onshore, you don't just simply dispose, you will need to dispose accordingly at the allocated site. Yeah, you see how much that will cost. Do you think that is environmentally friendly? Don't think so. But you need to actually update the authority. You need to convince the authority what does it take for us to do that and why? Because whenever that if you were to dump it to the sea or you put it over on the vessel, how many vessels trip do you think that it will take, and how much fuel that you actually burn, and how much of the ozone that you actually tear up during that time? All of this will need to be calculated and presented and make people understand the consequences of their instruction. Yeah. All right. And also the next one, in Malaysia, we have monsoon season in the South China Sea. How bad is monsoon season and the cost of it? Of course, that is a very, very valid question. In fact, in one of the projects that I have done, people actually say I'm the king of waiting on weather because my rig was a tender assisted platform rig and it was actually down for 1.5 months. You know how much that costs. That's why the people say, so malu one, but what can I do? Because God already sent the monsoon over to us. But also on my part, why did I use the tender assisted during the monsoon season? People will ask. Of course, I have no choice because that is the only rig that is available in the region, or else I will need to call for the rig from other regions. That is more expensive. Again, know your justification. Why you do every single thing? Yeah. All right. Fahmi, how can we tell the cuttings are safe or not? Does it have something to do with the compounds? Yes. Actually, it's like this. Yeah. The cuttings is from the sea. The cuttings tu tak berdosa, ya. Yang berdosanya is kita punya drilling fluids. drilling fluids that we mix together in order for the cuttings to be brought up. Yeah. What kind of drilling fluids? If you come over to the the session done by Dr. Arina yesterday, then you will be able to see this drilling fluids type. The oil base, yeah. The oil base is not environmentally friendly. So if you have the oil base, then you will not be able to dump it into the sea. There are two tests that usually we will do to the cuttings, yeah, to the residue of this at the drilling cuttings. First is whenever that you put that onto the sea, it will have the sheen test. Sheen test is like whenever that you put in, say for example, sometimes you see dekat dekat tepi-tepi pot tu ada minyak-minyak tu, that is a sheen test. They fail, yeah, they fail. But in oil and gas industry, we cannot have that. Yeah, whenever that you have oil sheen, a certain thickness, your drilling fluids fail. Second is what we call as shrimp test. Shrimp test is whenever that you put in shrimp, the shrimp die or not inside there. If the shrimp did not die, it passed that shrimp test. Yeah. So whenever that you choose your drilling fluids that you want to use in a certain area, you need to make sure that abides to the regulation. In some areas, in some countries, they don't have this requirement. So you can actually dump the cutting. But in Malaysia, we have quite a strict regulation. Yeah. But in Malaysia, it's not the strictest, yeah, around the world. There are some other places that is even worse. But in Malaysia, ours is international standard, yeah, in terms of what we can actually dump or not into the sea. Yeah. Yeah, now makes sense. Why do we filter shale and cuttings from our mud? Of course. And now you know what is the cost of having that drilling cuttings dumped into the sea as well. Before it got dumped into the sea, we sometimes have to go through what we call as cutting dryers, where cutting dryers we will take out as much as possible the oil before we dump the cutting into the sea. And again, all of this is done ethically because as engineers, we plan the whole program based on the regulations that we have. Yeah, I hope all of you get a clear idea on how basically things are done. Yeah, all right, let's take a few minutes break and then we'll come back again. Thank you so much for all the question and discussion. Let's continue our session. I hope all of you have a good break. Let's continue on with let me share my screen. Okay, all of you can see the screen. If you all can just give me a thumbs up. Tell me that you are here. Are you all here? Are you all back? Are you all back? No thumbs up. Is everyone back? Yes. Uh, Oh, my video is not on. All right. Okay. All right, guys. Are you all back? Give me a thumbs up if you all are here so that I know that I can start. Give me thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, I can see. Yes. Okay, all right. All of you are back, yeah? Give me a sign that you all are back. Yes, thank you, Fahmi. I see that your thumbs up. Okay, all right, and I see yes, ready. Okay, thank you so much, Kuzaimi, and as well as Nazarul, Nazaruf, Nazaruf. Okay, all right. So let's. Thank you so much, Arjun, as well. Let's continue on where we stopped just now. Yeah. We are halfway through, and we can have so in case that all of you, any of you have any questions whatsoever, you don't have to wait until the end of the session to do this. You can actually ask me right now. The reason is because it is actually best for you, for your question to be answered now, so that it doesn't linger in your mind as we go through. Yeah. Um, so let's continue. Why is well cost estimation complex? Yeah. Of course, we talk about cost volatility because the oil price keeps on changing, and you can see the oil price, it was in 2014, before it crashed down, it was 125 US dollar per barrel, and then it went all the way down to 25 US dollar per barrel, and then also right now it is around 75 US dollar per barrel. So it keeps on changing, but it doesn't change like every single day. It change like, whenever that things happen in the world, you have one country bombing the other, then suddenly oil price is down, because oil price is all about supply and demand. Yeah. And also remember, oil price is also commodities. Yeah. Commodities, meaning that if the sentiment of people actually makes a big difference. Yeah. So understand all of that in the big picture whenever that you do your cost estimate. Doesn't matter whether you are doing a well cost estimate or a project cost estimate, because they are the same. Yeah. It's not the same. They are similar in the way that you need to be thinking. Yeah. Location and local authorities, community, all of that actually will bring in together. Market condition, what is it condition right now? If, say, for example, oil price is up, everyone wants to produce, everyone wants to drill the well, then rig rates become much, much higher. So market condition, we need to understand very, very well. Accuracy, how much information that you have, because the more information that you have, the more accurate your cost estimate is going to be. But if you have a lot of information, but that information is totally useless, then there's no point of you having that. Yeah. So you need to understand what needs to go into your well cost estimates, or any cost estimate for that matter. Contracting strategies. Yeah. So contracting strategies is another big items that you need to take care of. In Malaysia, you have the consolidated contract, you have individual contract. Sometimes, because the contract that we want to do is based on the economies of scale, then you probably have a longer term of contract. But is longer term contract better than the shorter term contract? Mm, I wouldn't know, because it really depends on the situation. Yeah. It really depends on what you as an organization, as a company, would like to achieve with that contract. Very interesting areas over there that you would probably want to think about. All I'm doing over here is make you realize what you would need to be thinking. I don't exactly tell you, this is right, this is wrong, because there's no such thing as right and wrong over here, because all of these items is something that you need to think, and also making sure that you actually understand and put together all of this consideration in your cost estimate. Yeah. All right. And contract value, either the contract value is low, medium, or high. Yeah. So very important over there. And certainty levels as well as risk factor. So accuracy versus certainty is very important because accuracy is how accurate your well cost is going to be. But certainty, how certain are you that cost that you have over there is enough or not? What kind of things that you have considered inside there in order, how certain are you with your with the things that you put inside your course such that it will provide an accuracy level over there. Risk assessment is where you will need to figure out what else is there that you have not thought of. And of course, we always wanted to reduce the uncertainty. And how do you want to do that? By having more information, because information will help you to determine what basically you will need to do. Let me just address one question over here. Well, cost estimate is based on historical records. Uh, how we should manage the cost accuracy looking forward. Yes, that's true because well cost estimates that we do today will need to be based on something. Yeah, especially later you will be able to see. Yeah, later you will be able to see different phases of design. Yeah, either conceptual, detail, or final design. You basically will need to do it differently. And whenever that you do that, you would need a reference. And usually we will take a look at a similar well that was done previously. What is the definition of previous? 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Are they using the same amount of contracts? Are they using the same kind of rig? Different rigs will use different kind of estimates, time estimates. How do you do your time estimate? So a whole lot of this will need to go in to make sure that you get your information and make it as accurate as possible. A, a well-experienced engineer will try to put together different sets of estimates, whichever that applies to the current cost. It's not just about copy and paste, but it is about looking at what is similar condition. But certain similar condition will not be the similar condition in your particular well. Oh, so complex one. But again, those are the things that you would need to consider and think, yeah? All right, let's just put yes about how does the contract value being fixed when so many uncertainty in the future? Yes. For those who are doing a proposal engineer, I think you know the answer. So, how are we going to do that? That's the reason why we do have a forecast. Yeah, a forecast is really important. And forecast, usually we will have a company that will actually take a look at the market condition and provide a forecast. And these companies basically, previously, yeah, how they put together, they have information from CIA. Okay, I kid you not, yeah, I kid you not, because CIA has the most information about every single thing around the world. Yeah, those information are actually published to a certain companies. Yeah, the companies that require those information. So we have to hire these particular companies in order to get the insight of what will be going on with the market in the next 5 to 10 years. Yeah, because all of these forecasts is very important for us to have. Yeah, not just the operators, but also the service contractors. Yeah, I basically have been in SO. I have been in Halliburton, which is a service company. Yeah, so the way that we have to handle contracts is yes. We need to understand what the market is like in the future, or else it's very hard for you to commit and basically, okay, operator, this is how much it will cost for you in the next 3 years, because most of the contract is signed for probably 3 plus 2. After 3 years, then you will be able to actually negotiate. But negotiate, it has to be agreed upon by both parties. So it is not an easy task. Yeah. So that is something very interesting. Probably we can actually have another topic in the future about the contracting strategies itself. Yeah, yeah, probably we can do that. Right. Thank you so much for the question. Now let's take a look at the component. We only have 30 minutes to go, so we will try to finish as much as possible, and we try to finish the entire thing. However, I probably will not be able to go in depth with this item, but I hope it has already triggered your mind on how to think and what to think, because in any classes that I do, either I do with the universities whatsoever, because I am a part-time lecturer as well. In any of these classes, I what I tell them is that, things that you can find on ChatGPT, you don't come and search for me. You can go and ask ChatGPT. But if you would like my opinion on certain things, then you can come over to me. Yeah, because I come with opinions. I I don't give out facts, because all of that you can actually find on ChatGPT or Google. Yeah. So all right, key cost components. So all of these item goes inside here, like drilling and completion, tangibles, supplies, third-party services, and then logistic also, vessels. Vessels is one of the biggest costs, yeah? Don't underestimate the vessel cost, because they can be really, really expensive. And also, once you chartered a certain vessel, there is no turning back. If your operations is delayed, you still have to pay for the vessel, because the vessel is done on a daily basis. The same thing as well, your rig rates. You delay your operations, you have operational problem kah, tak ada apakah, you still have to pay the rig rates. You still have to pay the vessel. So these particular components, you have to understand, that the cost will still run even though your work is not done. On some people who actually do accounting, yeah, you will need to know what is actual work done, yeah, versus how much cost that you spend. Those basically will need to go along with each other. If one doesn't go along with another, then you will have problem. Being that is where what we call as supplemental drilling costs would come in. So logistic, under the logistic, you need to have your warehouse. Warehouse is simple lah, because warehouse doesn't, get blown by the monsoon, or it basically will close down whatsoever. It will stay there, and the price will not change. So it's good. Yeah. Helicopter is another thing, but it's not as much as compared to the rest. Yeah. Same thing with crew boat as well. But again, crew boat is not as expensive as supply boats. So that's the reason why. That's the reason why whenever that you consider all of these items, realize over here on your right hand side over here, yeah, this is how AFP cost estimation summary is like, yeah. So in each one of these line items, you probably will have another 20 lines or 30 lines down here that you will need to consider. That's how much detail that you actually have this, yeah. So, and then you have to consider as well abandonment costs. Abandonment, as I mentioned, it could happen in exploration after you have drilled, you have gained all of the information, and then you have to abandon the particular well. Or if you are doing a development and you have produced for such a long time and then you abandon it. So nowadays, you must include this abandonment cost into either your well cost or the project cost. Yeah, because it could be in a separate line item, but it could be part of this. Remember I said just now, this is a template. Every single thing that you do is unique. Yeah. If I have the facial recognition, this is the facial recognition because they are different from one to the other. If you have one or two wells which is exactly the same cost, someone is lying. Yeah, that is true because they will can never be the same because items over here, there's so many um variation that can happen. It will not be possible. Yeah. So environmental compliance, back to the one that we discussed earlier as well. Do we need to bring the cuttings back onshore? Now that you know how much, what does it take to actually bring the cuttings onshore, you will actually think twice before you agree to do as such. Yeah. To me, I will go against it as much as I can, but if the work has to go on, then I will tell them how much it will cost to do as such and see whether this project actually can still fly or not. Yeah, most of the time, probably not. And if the project doesn't fly, who basically will be at loss? Actually, everyone will be at loss, not just the company that is doing it, but also the host country and also the entire country. Huh? So, do not be afraid to tell the truth because the truth basically will show the right thing to do. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Okay, detailed cost breakdown over here. Basically, we just explained a little bit of what goes on that in the previous items. I will have to just like skip this one and I would like to talk a little bit about this abandonment and decommissioning because most of this particular item is something that you all probably will have more issues to handle or to think about, yeah, in the future. So well cost abandonment and decommissioning. When we talk abandonment, it's well abandonment. But decommissioning over here usually is related to the entire project, which means that you will need to remove the platform and so on, so on, so forth, the bigger scale of it. And sometimes we call as well as well decommissioning. So depending on, how you really want to see it. So that's the reason why I put away abandonment and decommissioning, so that you will not think those as two different things, but it goes along with each other. Yeah. All right. So uh, total, if we take a look at this, it says over here, average PNA cost per well is 5.3 million. Yeah, and approximately 21 days were required. I can tell you those numbers are actually obtained by averaging it. Yeah. But again, each abandonment cost is very different. It can go like really, really low or it can go really, really high. Why? Because of the variation that you will have in the design of the abandonment, as well as what is the condition of the well after it has been produced by 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60 years. Yeah. Realize some of the wells over in Malaysia, like from Angsi, Guntung, they have been produced for more than 40 years. So, this particular field, and if you want to go and abandon even the well, you will have a lot more problem. Don't say about the apa ni the platform condition. I have worked on platform and abandonment project where the platform is already rusted most of the time, leaking here and there. And I am so glad when I was there during the management visit, it was raining, and I simply brought them over to the platform so that they can see the condition that we are working on. Leaking here and there, it was raining, and then all the water pour down on them. Then they will see the real condition. So during the management visit, you don't hide things. You show what is the real condition that you are working in so that people can, appreciate you a little bit more, and also whenever that you ask for money, they will give it to you. Okay, back to the next. Okay, this is abandonment and commissioning as well. So, and this is a sample of a proposed diagram where realize that we will need to cover whatever that we have perforated before. Realize I said we will need to restore as much as possible. So in this case over here, you have casing. This is metal, and this metal over here is cemented with the class G cement. And how are you going to take it out? Cannot. You cut as much as possible, take it out, and then you blocked it, and then you cement it, whichever that you can, and then at last you put a few layers of cement, and then making sure that there is no communication between all of these areas over here. Yeah. So very, very important that whenever that you do abandonment, you do an abandonment in this way where it meets all of the requirements of abandonment. Yeah. And how you want to know this? It's all listed in the governing standards. Yeah. All right. So contingency and NPT over here. Yeah. And contingency, anything that is unbudgeted activities. So if you have some issues whatsoever, sometimes you have weather coming in, those are unbudgeted, so that is where it is put together, put together for. And then sometimes it's the non-productive time. You have any unscheduled, anything that is unexpected, so you put in as over there. Again, whenever that you plan for your well, you plan the best that you can. Not the best as in like all, every single work that you do, you get it through. But no, the best that you can, meaning that you are comfortable with how much time that it will take to complete that particular work. Ah, because there is no point of you trying to be hero and put over there a very, very thin amount of time, because every single minute that you put inside your estimates goes into the cost estimate. Ah, very, very complex there. Yeah. So non-productive, non-trouble is whenever that, yeah, you think you have things like waiting on weather and so on and so forth. So again, going back to accuracy versus contingency, understand the difference between the two. And then whenever that you explain to the management, whenever you explain to people why basically your cost is that way and what are the things that you put inside your cost, you can justify those because your cost is as good as your justification. And whenever that you do all of these cost estimates, I strongly would like you all to consider documenting every single thought process that you have. But trust me, in 2 weeks' time, you will not remember why you put in 8% into the rig rates. You cannot answer. And then I can tell you this kind of justification, it goes back really, really well because you can even answer the same question 10 years from now because you already documented somewhere your thought process. Yeah, because your thought process is so valuable. You need to document somewhere why basically you think that way. Because whatever that you think right now will not be valid anymore in 5, 10 years down the line. Okay, I have a question over here. How does the contract value being fixed? Oh, that one is already done. NPT is also referred to lost time. Then what is referred to is invisible lost time. Oh, this one is going a bit advanced, yeah? So if all of you have already graduated with the NPT, I can explain the invisible lost time. Because invisible lost time is something that you are not able to actually put the time in. So that is another level. Yeah. I will not be putting it in right now because this one is it goes into the next stage. Yeah. So, but invisible lost time, again, invisible lost time is not. I wouldn't say that it's a standard globally that people actually understand. And I do not want to confuse you. The reason is because most of you are not doing well cost. Most of you are doing cost, but you have to consider one of the things that you would want to consider, yeah, is what other things that could increase the amount of time of your operation that will not be able to be seen in the line item. I will leave you at that. Then you all will figure out. Yeah. So, how much do you usually allocate for contingency? Good question over there. All right. There is no guidelines stating anywhere. However, in the remember when we talk about the phases, the design phases, you have conceptual, conceptual, detail, and final. In the conceptual design, yeah, in the conceptual design, usually we will have 30% contingency. What is the contingency at this point? Contingency at this point is the change in the plan itself. Yeah, in the plan itself. So, for example, at the conceptual part, you probably have not done not you as in drilling, but geology have not completed their studies of the area, or they have not done any appraisal well whatsoever. So that's the reason why you have 30%. And then in detail, is where you will come in together with the rest of other costs of the more information on your facilities cost, your what things that you want to put inside there. So this is usually 20% contingency that we will allow inside there. Yeah. But again, you have to justify. Contingency does not come as a line item. It has to come with a justification of why you do that. And of course, the detail, the final design that is at the stage of notice of operation before you go and do the operations, that is 10%. Okay, going back to the details just now, usually the detail, what you do is whenever that you want to buy your materials, your long lead materials, yeah, because some of the material that we want to use is corrosion resistant alloy, for example, CRA material, which can actually take about 1 to 1.5 years for delivery time. So you would want that money to go out first. So that's why that is like a 20% over there, because you're still unsure. But final, as you get nearer, the rest of other project details have already come over to you. You have already revised your cost, and you are more confident of the cost. So you have 30, 20, and 10. Hopefully that answers your question. But again, all of this level, you will need to get a justification. Yeah, and justification is based on the condition of your yeah, what I have given you just now are some of the examples of usual examples that I would use or consider. Yeah. All right. Methods and decision making. We have only 10 more minutes. I will try to finish this as much as possible. So estimation types over here. Yeah. Estimation types, we have like analogous. Meaning that we take a look at the well data. Just now there was a question, what information that you want to get, and so on and so forth. So this is analogous. We take another information from another well data and reference it as part of the estimates, as well as deterministic, where a certain fixed cost model comes in here, because we already have predefined parameters. We already think, okay, I'm going to have like 3 days for this particular operation, so I will have it as such. And then you have the probabilistic estimation, where you will put in inside there, what is the potential of this going to be successful. If the success rate is 50%, then you times that by 50%. So you will see a good variation of that cost. And of course, you have sensitivity analysis. You realize you have so many things that is moving. Yeah, everything is moving in this cost, but there are a few bigger factors where whenever that you change, the cost of the well will increase or decrease at a higher rate. What are those? Big ticket items, as I mentioned just now, rig rates. Big ticket items, supply vessels. Supply vessels actually doesn't change in terms of the rate. However, it changed because of the number of days. And number of days for the well is related to the estimates for the operations that you have. So sensitivity analysis, you need to pick one items at a time in order for you to see how much difference it will give in your cost. Yeah, very interesting, isn't it? Yeah, let's just take a look. Okay, cost estimation workflow. We have from data gathering, estimate approval, and so on and so forth. What people don't realize over there is the reconciliation. Reconciliation is whenever that you have already completed the well, after 6 months, all the invoices has already come in, and then you will need to justify why your cost has already gone overboard or lesser or much lesser than it's supposed to be. Justify that. That's the reason why I said documentation is so important. Okay, sources of information that you will get: exploration well. How do you want to choose an offset wells? And then development wells will have different ways of estimating, and all of this information will come together. Yeah, and this is the individual pre-conceptual. Realize just now we have conceptual, detailed, and final. Pre-conceptual, sometimes people will ask you to do, Razak, please do the screening process for this particular well. Tell me how much it will cost. I don't have much information inside there. So, how much time do you want to give me? Oh, you have until 4 o'clock today. And then I say, so you give me 7 minutes. I give you the numbers right now, lah. Jot down. Ah, because whenever that you request for certain numbers, you need to give me time. If you don't give me time, then I will give you an absolutely stupid number. Okay, so these are the process that you have to go through. And then individual well for conceptual, the same thing as well. Later you can go in and read through lah. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things over here. Individual detail. So different phases of design will have different ways of doing things. Realize, buy long lead items. Yeah, long lead items, things that will take 1 year, 1.5 years to actually arrive after you put out an order. Yeah, so final over here where you will have individual well, AFE, authorization for expenditure. Of course, in conceptual, this is your summary of the workflow of why basically you want to do this concept. Yeah, and transparency and traceability, very, very important. Authorization for expenditure is where your management will sign off. Your partner, your company's partner will sign off as well. Okay, Razak, you can spend this much of money to drill your well. But if you don't have enough, you have to tell me before the well is completed, or else you're going to pay yourself lah. Like that. So you basically will need to make sure you request for money before it runs out. And you have to ask the person, the original person who signed it off, because you need to tell, because the first round, you already told, okay, this is my best estimate ever. Yeah. And if after 2 months, and then you have to go back to the same person, sir, I want a bit more money lah. You lose your face lah, isn't it? So that's the reason why you need to have to all of the justification in. Yeah. All right. Let's go. Common pitfalls in cost estimates. Yes. Over optimism. Whenever that you think, oh, life is so wonderful, you wake up in the morning, no problem. We don't have a problem. Whenever that you are so over optimism in your planning, that's where you will, don't have enough money. Ignoring cost variability, because there's so much of variability. We talk about that just now, and all this variation will actually make your cost different. Yeah, underestimating the risk, because certain risk, yeah, you will. That's the reason why we have risk assessment, and you will have this cost. I think in on Thursday or Friday as well with but tape later. So it's good for you to have that. Yeah, incomplete and outdated data. You take a look at the well that has been drilled like 10 years ago. Of course, the data will not be accurate anymore. Even right now, the data that you have is, it moves really, really fast. World is changing really, really fast. So that's the reason why later I will talk about a bit about the automation that we will have. Yeah. Lack of holistic. You don't see the big picture. You don't consider other people, because whenever that you do your well cost estimate, you don't simply just look at your well cost. You need to take a look as well at what other friend of yours over in reservoir geology and so on and so forth are doing, because all of this is cross-functional input. Yeah. All right, emerging trends. Yes, well, digitalization, where you can see all of that. Again, this well cost is where you will be able to see the difference, how it evolves, and so on and so forth. So, well, digitalization will help you to do that. Yeah, automation, where previously you probably will have to go to the company's library in order to get all the well files from 5, 10 years ago. But for right now, all you have to do is just type in a few words and the database will expel all of the information that you need. Yeah. So all of this is really important. Yeah. So I do not want to take a single minute more of the time that is allocated over to me. So the things that is important that we put together over here, accurate estimation is crucial for sustainable field development, because you will need to have advanced technique to improve the economics of your particular well. So that's the reason why in field development, yeah, you will need to consider all of that into your cost estimate. Proactive abandonment, you need to put in all the abandonment costs, so that your cost, your entire project cost will not be, just simply whatever that you have right now. So invest in estimation. You need to spend time. If you didn't spend time, didn't think through what else, because I cannot help you in that area, because you are best at your own in your own project. You basically will need to think about what is the most important for your particular project and put it inside there. So that is the part where you have name. Let me see if there is any questions that you have inside here. Okay, back to you, Amy.
Okay, so again, thank you everyone for joining us. I'm glad to see such an active participation from the audience, from everyone. Your engagement really made the session more meaningful. We hope that we have left you with a stronger grasp on how well cost estimates are developed and applied, from understanding the cost components, influencing factors, also building structured models that supports financial planning and project approvals. Okay, so thank you once again, and we look forward to see you in the next session. Take care and bye bye.